We were so distinct, I said, David, I'm an actor, I can do it. He said, if you can come up with a storyline we haven't done. They were heading into their 5th season, that's almost 100 hours of story at that point. So I went and I pitched, oh, we did that in season 3, no, we did that in season 1. And finally we hit upon the debt that can never be repaid. So that first one, we were in the garden at the school, the art school. We got half an hour of rehearsal because Braun and I put it together the night before. We saw you, that morning. We got half an hour because the camera truck broke down. So that was our most rehearsed fight. And then we had the one that we did, and we kind of just did extemporaneous when we were in the school. And that was where the floor was slippery. And I'm in boots that are 3 sizes too big. And we're going around and we're slipping, and Braun has taken Coca-Cola and thrown it on the floor to let it, because when it dries it gets sticky. It's an old trick. But he said, please, by all means, prep this for tomorrow, when we're going to be outdoors, because if it's misty or whatever, well, it's pissing down rain all day, And he said, you didn't treat the surface, put some sand on it. I said, well, we were going to, but it rained. He says, yes, we know. So we had no cover set. So there was no rehearsal. We literally rehearsed on camera. So and the day before we were doing, I had my one scene where I get to romance the girl. It's one of the only times the girl either wasn't tied up or the only shower scene I've ever had in my entire career. I was alone. But so the director called me Rico Suave. But right at the end of our scene, Adrian says, we've got this big fight tomorrow. I haven't seen this fight. We have to stop for and so for half an hour we'll rehearse on set.
But actually,
Adrian, is that how it usually goes?
Yeah, yes. but it didn't. I remember we did have a little rehearsal purely and simply because I was filming the previous episode or part of this episode, and I would see F and you sitting there like, can we rehearse? So I'd finish a tape, I'd come off, we'd do stuff, and I'd go on and do another tape, I'd come off and I'd do that. But that was really, it was limited, and it was, we talked about it before, about changing it from being katana to the Espadillada, and that's a very different style, and needed very specific angles and points of attack, and so that we were looking like we knew what we were doing, as well as making it safe so that we knew when the parries and the attacks came from. So, it was a challenge, but what's really nice to see is I constantly travel in a lot of different places, and people always say Duende. So I remember Duende. Oh, I love that show, and it was good because the cabs were good. Plus, I got to do a lot of flamenco. I love flamenco. There's nothing better like doing this,
Braun and I were out, trying to put together the fight. He was in filming the flamenco sequence in the bar. And we're out, and they've got these little things there to protect you from being run over, in the little streets of Paris. So we're sort of dodging cars, and then you would pop out in between shots, as you say, and go, okay, so what's that next phrase going to be? All right, I'm going to go back and do some more dancing. So he was very, very busy.
In answer to your question, Keith, it happened a lot. I mean, it still happens today on shows today. The amount of rehearsal time, usually it's the stunt guys that are doing the rehearsals and doing a lot of the stuff. When I worked on Arrow, the stunt guys worked all the time. And the leads would get in for one specific fight, it was an important fight, or just for some of the close-ups. Because the speed that they run at, the amount of fights they put in these shows sometimes now is so big that you can't rehearse and shoot at the same time if you're an actor in there. It's just impossible. So the teams that they have, the stunt teams and the fight choreography teams, get their work cut in. Whereas on our show we had a little bit more time.
Well, it was a real pleasure. I had such a good time working with Adrian on season 3, and we've taken really good care of it. We were in this house where, we had to go through where these glass doors. They were like $50,000 a door or whatever. And it says, "Don't touch the doors." We're like, "Why the hell are we in here?" But we took very good care of each other. And then in this sequence, it was much more complicated. I was very proud. This is the first time this has ever been seen on film. This is the mysterious circle, the T-bows, and you're always at Zork's Point. You might have noticed how close we are, and but the advantage of that was they could shoot us pretty much full figure the whole time, which meant we had our whole body to tell the story with.
But it's interesting because when you're looking at that type of fight, and I talk about this to people in my sword experience and all that all the time, about looking at certain fights in history, in filmic history, that were filmed full figure. Because a lot of the time when they do this, the actors can't do as much